Hi, and welcome to the 7th Valley Forge dev vlog. I've made quite a bit of progress in the last couple of months, thanks especially to a couple of weeks off work over Christmas break. We're now spawning in the air and falling down to the newly generated rolling sand terrain. I use a noise fractal to build up a height map, and then the game generates a mesh, a series of mesh in chunks. Initially, I was building it all in a single piece, and it took about 30 seconds. Breaking that down into smaller chunks brought that down to about 5 seconds. Changing that to use C++ brought it down to just over a second. And learning how to use workers, multi-threading, it's less than a second now, which I'm pretty dang happy with. Because it's built in chunks, I can deform that terrain over time. Back up the Valley Forge here just a little. Yeah, and you can see the tracks that the tires have left. At the moment, I haven't implemented the update of the collision, although that doesn't take up too much time. And that's a little bit far off the ground. I'll have to work on that. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get back in. That's okay. Okay, there are now resource nodes and the new drone spawner. It's not quite functional yet, and I'll get to it in just a minute. The resource nodes can be just simply destroyed at the moment, and they drop out a heavy resource. So that takes up your hands, and you can only carry one of those at a time. At the moment, they're quite well destructible by any weapon, but I'm working on a drill, which will sort those out. But the drill is still in progress, so at the moment it just does one short little spin. Working on the revolver, so I've added in code that automatically pops out certain weapons reload states, and you'll be able to drag and drop ammunition into those slots. That's not quite done either. So we've got that box of ammunition, and that has bullets, which you can actually see, and they will disappear as the ammunition is used. I'm also implementing stacking, splitting, and combining. So when you have 20 bullets and you put 6 of them into the gun, it knows to only put a maximum of 6, and it'll create a new ammo item. And when you take it back out, you'll be able to combine those in to a single stack, as you might expect from a game. So I finally took the time to learn about resources because I needed to start doing this for my projectiles. The amount of detail that I was including in each one was increasing. Now when you generate a weapon magazine, it will come with a payload. And I might even be able to roll it down into just being a handheld and then including the resources that define what it does. At the moment, you can attach a payload to one of these magazines, and that's what the weapon gets. And that's what it sends through to the projectile that gets fired out, and the projectile uses that payload details to first build itself and then set its own properties and decide what it does when it impacts. So this is one of the most complicated ones, which is the new RPG launcher shots. We've got the projectile, all of its stats. The ammo count is going to be 1, and so when you fire it, the shot's gone from the weapon automatically. But for testing, I wanted to be able to fire out multiple shots. And then under this section, because we've set explosive, we can also add a sub-resource, which is the explosive. This, of course, broke a lot of things. It stopped the welder from working, and it stopped the drone's slow projectile. The rocket launcher is supposed to be a single shot, but currently it fires as many times as you click. Makes use of the new payload system that I've set up for weapons. When you reload this, you'll need to open up the hatch, put in the new shell, and close it before you'll be able to fire it again. other players will be able to interact with this on the fly, so you'll be able to have an assisted reloader standing by, so to bring up your fire rate just a bit. Okay, I've made a first pass at a mech. So this mech is going to come with a drill, much like the drill that is handheld by the players, and a manipulator arm. So at the moment, its canopy just goes translucent when you get in, lets you see in lieu of monitors. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work going forward, but uh, that's the general idea. It'll have pretty good visibility. Place parts. I did stop working on this because inverse kinematics wasn't in Godot 4.5, but it has been reintroduced in 4.6. I'm not sure if I'll have that ready for the version 2 release, but the idea is that you're going to be able to replace both arms, you're going to be able to add on other modules, change the legs, change the back equipment. The default back equipment is going to be cargo containers. So you put large items, say from resource nodes, either onto the back rack or use the manipulator arm to pick it up while you're piloting the mech, and they'll go up into a resource container. And then when you're in charge of the mech, you can go into precursor mode and use the MFDs to manipulate what's going on in there. And then also on this pack, there'll be buttons to just eject whatever's next in the list, so you can park it and unload it while you're on your own. On the ship, I've created a new door. It's got spinning screws that operate first, then side sections, then the middle, and it also shows off what the new color scheme of the Valley Forge will be. Everything was ending up yellow and brown, so I decided the Valley Forge should be a nice green, which will make it quite identifiable at a distance. Inside we have new railings. There are two variants. There's an indoors one and an outdoors one. The indoors scheme is white paint. I've got a bit of a problem with the texture on the stairs, which does not appear on the exterior stairs, which are here in green. And the railings in green. You'll notice out in the distance, there is a swirling vortex, which shows the edge of the maps. It doesn't do anything to you yet, but in the future, if passing beyond it will damage you and the Valley Forge, unless it's in a locked down mode. The bloom around the sun, you might notice, is a bit wider, and that's because I've introduced volumetric fog over the entire map. During daylight hours, it's fine, but it looks really sick when it's dark. Especially from the headlights, you get that. You can sort of see it now while the suns are both on the horizon. I'm going to do further work on that. I've seen ways to use shaders to get it to move around and surge around, which would be really cool, and especially around the edges of the map to build that up. Because currently it's just 3 copies of the same texture, just slowly rotating around. I mean, it's quite slow from the center point, but if you get up to it, it's fairly fast looking. All right, there's the new drone spawner, which has attached a pylon with a turret on it. You can see the turret has my new smoking effect, which has replaced the old black blurs that I had before. The turret itself doesn't have a weapon yet because I haven't decided what exactly it's going to fire. I feel like I want to have it fire out like an energy bolt or something. And you'll be able to pick that up and put it into the Valley Forge's research machines to learn how to build those yourself and upgrade the equipment. There is new destructible parts. So this is made up of simples, which just have hit points of their own, but also more complex ones like this, the support beam, which has a weak point underneath several layers, which can quickly destroy all of the other parts. And because it's complex, you can also send damage up to its parent, which it does, which generally makes the main part weaker. Um, so the exterior dark sections are heavily armored or ablative like these and don't deal damage to the actual structure. The pylons take minimal damage. The dark grey, the medium grey parts take a normal amount of damage, and these glowing bits deal extra damage. So those vents will open up as the factory runs and pumps out new flying drones. When they're destroyed, they spew out these bits of shrapnel. I've just got a single model, but it'll be quite simple to add extra ones. And those just shrink over time and vanish once they're below a certain size. The last thing I could really show off, I think, is the shader maps, which I've doubled in size. The sun I've determined is actually too far away from the player, which is causing it to become quite pixelated. It's fine for the ship itself, but the player it's quite chunky. Light sources that are up close, quite fine. I could increase that further by reducing the number of light sources that can affect a player at once. But when you're on interior scenes and there's multiple lights close together, I thought it was it'd be more enjoyable if there was multiple lights affecting yourself and the things around you at the same time rather than just a single one. So that's a compromise that I have to make. And that's already 8K by 8K. Wouldn't be very good to expand it further. And that's it for this time. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.